We have Zach Zook joining me today to talk some football. Zach, let's start with Indianapolis as the Colts are heading out to Soldier Field to take on the Bears. They had a big win last week against the New York Jets. Philip Rivers, again, I think he's impressing some people here and there, and they're just one of those teams you really can't get a grasp on. So what are your thoughts on Philip Rivers and the Colts so far?
I think they've looked solid. Now, the schedule has been relatively favorable. We thought Minnesota was going to be a much better team, but they're 0-3 so far. Jets 0-3 as well. But one thing that the Colts have done thus far here in September is they've been able to establish an identity. Now, they had a bit of a running back committee going when they had Marlon Mack healthy, but since he has been lost to the season due to an Achilles injury that he suffered back in week 1, I think it's actually helped them focus on their identity in the future moving forward. They have now been able to fully integrate Jonathan Taylor into that offense as the bell cow back, who, if you remember, they spent a second-round pick on this past spring while using Nyheim Hines as more of the lightning to the thunder, if you will, the pass-catching back and the kind of jittery change of pace guy. But I think what the most impressive thing Indianapolis has been able to do, it's their defense. They've given up 43 points through week 3, which is the best mark they've allowed since 2009. The last time they had 2 defensive touchdowns in a season was 2015. They've done that already here in 2020 throughout just 3 weeks. So I think the identity of the Colts through this September schedule has really come to the forefront. This team is about defense and running the football.
You mentioned Jonathan Taylor and what he's been able to do. He was kind of thrown into the main job with Marlon Mack going down. You mentioned that before. But Taylor seems to be taking it right with them. They're giving him, at one point, 18 carries in the first half against Minnesota in week 2. What do you see out of him? Do you think he's a superstar in the making?
Oh, absolutely. He's going to be the focal point of their offense moving forward throughout the rest of his rookie contract. I mean, you never want to see anybody go down due to injury, and certainly Marlon Mack's a talented player and one that they'll miss. But it helps them establish Jonathan Taylor, who they really see a lot of value in. Clearly, Chris Ballard loved him. To go get him in the second round of the draft after a productive season that Marlon Mack had. I mean, that shows you just what they thought of him coming out of Wisconsin. And I think for my money, he was the best pure runner coming out of college this past spring. Better than DeAndre Swift. In my opinion, better than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I thought that Jonathan Taylor's contact balance, his power through the hole, he tested pretty well at the combine. He is just the total package. Not going to catch many balls, but they got Nyheim Hines for that, as we mentioned earlier. So I think that the Colts are going to further integrate Jonathan Taylor, and as he gets even more comfortable and he gets more NFL experience, you'll just see the Colts kind of settle into what they're going to be, which is going to be a grinded out, ground and pound football team under Frank Reich.